Hi, guys. This is Bloody Essentials. I'm Nina,
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ethan.
and we are very excited. We have a very special guest. We have Richard. He's promoting Frankencon.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on, everybody. I'm really glad to be here and can't wait to talk about FrankCon and everything else.
Thanks for
Yeah,
being here.
Thanks for being
absolutely.
here.
Yeah, no problem.
We're really excited to talk about you. The reason why we started this podcast was to talk with horror creators and people in the horror community that basically um, run things. And a lot of people don't know the time and commitment that it takes to put these kind of things on. So
Yeah, that's
we're,
true. I don't think I knew before I started.
yeah,
Sure.
it's a lot. It's very
Yeah,
intense.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it
Um,
is. It is. Because we have full-time jobs too.
yeah.
So we're juggling both, and yeah, if I'm not, yeah, I call it juggling chainsaws. I have so much going on. So.
Richard, what sparked your interest in horror?
Well, like growing up, I mean, I would like to say like, oh, like I grew up on horror and I watched them all back in back in the day. And it really kind of wasn't like that, but I've loved movies all my life. And I think the first horror movie I watched was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. My brother was 10 years older than me, so he had that on, and that terrified me. And then because I didn't like the puppet guy, that
Yeah,
creeped me
no.
out. And and so, but I mean, I loved movies in general, and so I always watched them, whether it was horror, drama, comedy, whatever. And then in the early 2000s, well, late 90s, House of a Thousand Corpses. I was a big Rob Zombie fan. Of course, he was working on a movie called House of a Thousand Corpses, and I mean, I got into that really, really big, and that kind of started me on this path. And then Devil's Rejects came out, and I love that movie. It's one of my favorites of all time. And
Agreed.
then,
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw, the remake came out, and I don't really think it's underrated because I think people realize how good it is, but it's a very good remake. And
Yeah.
that genre, that time period between like 2002 and 2010, it was just really good. Like with you had a lot of foreign stuff I got into
Yeah.
with like Dead Snow and Inside and Martyrs, all those good
Mhm.
ones. Dead Snow is one of my favorite. Well, it's my favorite zombie movie, probably for sure. But I think it's a perfect horror comedy. Uh, but I got into horror then, and then I kind of fell out of it a little bit, and then I got back into it by doing podcasting back in, I don't know. I mean, I started podcasting, years ago, like 2013, 14, I think was
Wow.
when I first started. And then I did a wrestling one and some other things. And, but then me and my buddy, we started exclusively talking about horror movies about 4 years ago, I guess. And that's kind of how it all started with Frankencon. And we just we talk we do a weekly podcast on movies and stuff, just talk about some of our favorite things.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
you got into podcasting before the surge of all
Yeah,
this.
you'd think
Yeah.
I'd be like, last podcast on the left or something, but it never got, I never got that big or nothing. But I mean, I love podcasting. I think I was listening to podcasts back in like, I mean, 2009, I think was when I started. Like Scott Sigler had a podcast. He's a writer,
Yeah.
and then he kind of I found other writing podcasts because of him and stuff.
Mhm.
But you would think I've done a lot of different podcasts, but we've been on Night of the Nerdy Laser is what this one's called. Kind of because my online name is Nerdy Laser, and that's sort of how Frankencon came to be too. So it all kind of leads to something.
That's
Sure.
awesome. And I
Yeah.
will say, anybody that is doing a podcast, you're not doing it for anything except yourself, honestly.
No, I threatened to quit a lot, but my buddy Jeff, he's in Colorado, I'm in Tennessee, and I mean, really, it's a chance for me and him to just talk. I mean, we're friends, we don't
Absolutely.
get to see each other much, and so it's just a chance to hang out with him and stuff. I mean, we get bummed out sometimes, like if we think about like the time and stuff, as far as like, I mean, we have a small fan base, but you know. Yeah, nobody makes money on. I mean, not you.
No.
It's a very specific group of people that actually make money off podcasting. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Trust
us, we get that.
We understand.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't know how you do it, but there's ways to do it.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned some of your favorite horror movies. You know, what for you like makes a good horror movie? What are you looking for in a horror movie?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's changed over the years. I mean, back in the early 2000s, I mean, it was gore. It was Saw and Hostel Part 2. Those are my favorites. You know, I was really a gore hound. Nowadays, I don't really go to that. I mean, I don't mind it, but I think the older I get, the less it appeals to me. I don't know, just a good story. I like all things. Like, I mean, whether it's a ghost story or a demon story or, you know, whatever. I mean, a slasher. I love a good slasher. You know, Thanksgiving, I think, or Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving. Although I do appreciate Thanksgiving.
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hilarious movie. I also appreciate Velocipaster, but
I want to see that.
Velocipaster is even more. I mean, if you think Thanksgiving is ridiculous, Velocipaster is a whole nother level. I mean, it's not really horror either, but yeah, it's a good low budget, and they're doing a sequel too. So
awesome.
But Thanksgiving, I think, was one last year that, I mean, I was super excited about it, but I think it took me even by more surprise when I saw it, just because, I mean, it's a gory mainstream movie, and but I mean, it's gory, but I don't feel like it's like Hostel and stuff. You know, it's not like torturing kind of.
Right.
Well, I mean, I say that, but then the end is, I mean, she's pretty tortured. So
right.
But I don't know. You know, I mean, I think it's just one of those movies that really sparked my interest. I've never been into the Scream franchise too much. I've only actually seen the first one.
Okay.
I need to watch them, but I just haven't.
Sure.
Fair enough.
I mean, I hear they're good, and I dig Radio Silence stuff. So I heard they did a couple of them. So yeah. I don't know if Ready or Not's a horror movie, but I really like that movie.
I love that.
Excellent
movie. I'm dying to see Abigail. But I just
it's fantastic.
It's a fantastic movie.
I've heard it's really good. The last movie I saw was I went to the theater when it was there for Late Night with the Devil, and I dug it pretty good.
I loved that one.
I actually just watched that today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a little different. Yeah, I think people, you know, they want every movie they see to be their like favorite movie or to be the best, and it's like that's kind of the wrong way to look at it. Like, but if you say, like, if somebody asks how was Late Night with the Devil, and you say, oh, it's good, and they're like, oh, it wasn't good, and it's like, no, it's good. Like, but they want you to say, like, oh, it's amazing, you have to see this,
right?
Like, I mean, I don't know. People get, you know, the only movies you have to see are Jurassic Park and Terminator 2. So
love Jurassic Park.
those are my two favorite movies of all time. So
good picks.
Yeah. But so as long as it's got a good story, I mean, I you know, it's hard to be original, but like people do it. People dig on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, but I actually really, really like the first one. I've heard the second one's better, and I haven't seen it yet. I actually should have went and seen it because I picked Late Night with the Devil, and then Winnie the Pooh was out within 3 days, I think, and it never went back. So I'm excited to see that, and so just something different, and yeah.
That's understandable.
I'm not too picky when it comes to movies, like, but as far as a genre, I mean, torture, what they used to call torture porn, that used to be my favorite genre, but like I said, as I got older, got a little harder to watch.
For sure.
Completely understandable. Completely understandable. So tell me this, Richard. What's your favorite thing about the horror community?
I mean, honestly, it's hard to like throw a wide net on this, but I think for the most part, because there's so many cool people in it. I mean, there's a bad egg every now and then, but for the most part, you can really build a good community with horror fans. Like, I mean, the community we have is just incredible, and I would have never. I mean, I don't know. You think. I just like the fact that we also like don't follow the normal path, we dress a little weird, we talk funny, sometimes we always quote horror movies, or if somebody says something, we always have a comeback for it. As far as a horror movie goes, like, you just can connect with each other. I'm a wrestling fan too, and it's sort of the same way. Like, I think wrestling fans and horror fans are sort of unique and similar. But wrestling fans are way more picky. Some horror fans are, but so I just like the fact that there's a common ground, and for the most part, even if you differ on opinion, like, you can still make friends and still talk to one another, and just hang out and in a common interest.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So that's really what I like about it. I mean, and then the themes, like, I like a good haunted house. I don't get to go to too many of them these days, but I used to love haunted houses, and so I mean, just all the spooky things, horror books and movies. There's so much to kind of get into, and so many genres, like comedy, horror, and there's just so many different kind of options you have when it comes to horror. But the fans really, I do love horror fans.
Yeah.
They're great people. Yeah. Outside of horror, what are some of your other interests?
Well, wrestling's good again, so I've been trying to keep up with that. When it hits Netflix next year, I'd say I'll have a better chance. A lot of times, I mean, I'm kind of so knee deep into Frankencon, and my podcast, and that's kind of what I do now. But I'm a collector. I love collecting Blu-rays. I collect 4Ks, but I don't have a player, but eventually I will. And most 4K movies come with Blu-rays, so I'm good. But I like Vinegar Syndrome and Severin.
Yes.
I don't buy as much as I used to, but there for a while. I mean, Vinegar Syndrome got a lot of my money, and then so I'm a collector in general. I love G.I. Joe Classified, the new Hasbro line that's been going on for a few years. I'm a big time collector in that. I mean, I like figures in general. I've got the Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
I've got all the Thanksgiving figures ready for Frankencon. I love the Toonie Terrors one.
Love those.
Yeah, those are awesome.
I like the cartoony look. So I mean, I do like to collect things, much to my wife's chagrin most of the time. But and then I pile them up, and then my cats knock them over. So it's a vicious cycle.
Can relate to that. Oh my God.
I love comic books too. So really, anything collecting, that's what I probably do outside of all my ventures.
Sure.
Excellent.
Awesome. So, Richard, what started your interest in making your own con?
Well, it's sort of all by accident. I never really had an interest in it, to be honest. So, I mean, I think my first con was 2001, like, that I went to.
Sure.
It was Adventure Con here in Knoxville, and now it's called Fanboy Expo. But it used to be Adventure Con, and I went there, and like when I went there, it was like Face from A-Team, the guy who played Swamp Thing in the TV show, or maybe the movie, I can't remember. But and then the Jaws guy from James Bond. So it was like that old. That's what cons used to be, you know, is kind of the people that didn't work anymore, and they went to cons and stuff like that. And now it's a whole different, you know, ball game.
Yeah.
But so I've attended some of the. I mean, I've been to San Diego Comic-Con. I've been to Chiller Theater. I've been to just a lot of the quote unquote bigger ones, you know, MegaCon down in Florida. So I love going to conventions. And then my old podcast partner, he was a wrestler and he had a company, a wrestling company. He liked putting on events, and he wasn't really doing the wrestling events as much. So he kind of, you know, we started doing these kind of side podcast events and stuff where we would do live podcasts and stuff like that. And it was right after COVID, and he got the idea, and he had a connection with Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp.
We love her.
We love
Big
her.
fan of Felissa.
Everybody loves Felissa. It's hard not to.
I was going to say, how could you not?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to. We had her last year at Bride of Frankencon, and she was awesome. I actually, I volunteered at Scarefest in Kentucky last year, which is one of my favorite horror conventions outside of Frankencon. And I was the handler for Chris Collet. He was in Sleepaway Camp. He was the boyfriend, but he was in Prayer of the Roller Boys, which is my guilty pleasure favorite movie.
Love that movie.
Oh God, it's so good.
Love that movie.
Rad and Prayer of the Roller Boys are like, they're just, if I'm having a bad day or something, I can just put those on and I'll be good. So my buddy was like, hey, what do you think about doing an event with Felissa? And I was like, I mean, that sounds cool. I mean, I don't know how to do it, but so we had a connection down here for a venue. So we had a spot we worked out with Felissa, and, you know, no events were happening. So this was right on the cusp of face masks were still required, I think, when we started planning for the event. And then by the time the event happened, they weren't required. So that's kind of where we were in time wise. And so we sold this event out with like 85 people, and we had like 3 weeks left till the show, and we didn't expect to sell it out or nothing. People traveled from all over. And so we were like, well, let's do this again. And so we sat down and thought about it, and I did some numbers and stuff. And it's like, I mean, honestly, we kind of looked up in the situation we were in, and I said the only way to do it is really to get vendors and really do a convention, you know.
Right.
And so it was me, my buddy that used to be on my podcast, and then my friend Corey Keelan, who does Spooky Dudes podcast. And we did that event together. And then, you know, we were like, well, do we want to do, you know, this other thing? And so we were all three in on it. And Corey had the idea. He's like, we should get Joe Bob and Darcy. Yes. And like, I mean, I was a fan of Joe Bob in the past, but I hadn't been keeping up with the Shudder thing at that point. And, you know, this was in 2020. So I think it was still, you know, the rise hadn't completely happened yet as far as the popularity, but I mean, he was still very popular, obviously. And so we contacted them and we booked them, and we made the announcement of them at the show, at Felissa's show. I still wish I had video, because my buddy made a video of, like, you know, something new is coming next year, and it was all dramatic and stuff, you know. And then it was and our first guests are, and then we had the Joe Bob drive-in theme playing, and people just went nuts, and we did not really expect that. So it sort of all happened by accident. Like, I love putting on events. I like making people happy. I just did an event down here in town with Samantha Newark from Jim and the Holograms last night. And it was great. Like, it's not horror related, but, like, I mean, I love that nostalgia. And I mean, I just liked giving people in town a chance to meet somebody like that.
Tell me a little bit about, like, how has Frankencon kind of evolved over time since you started it?
Well, it's funny. Originally, the original idea was the first show was a 1-day show, and it was on May the 14th. And the original idea was to do a Friday the 13th reunion, like with a bunch of people on Friday the 13th.
Love it.
And I just didn't know the logistics, and we kind of burned, it was just like too much. So really it's only May the 14th because we were originally going to do May the 13th because it was a Friday. And so, reunions are kind of hard enough anyway. So to try to get a bunch of people, and we didn't really know what we were doing. Like we didn't really have a goal at first. And we just knew we wanted to put on an event. So that's kind of where it evolved into an actual convention. And then we were only 1 day on the first year. So in 2021, 22, 21. I can't remember. 21, I think. And so yeah, we were only 1 day. We were Saturday. We had a rock band, Cast of Creatures, close out, or they played that night. We did a Joe Bob Q&A, and it was really cool. It was a great day. And then the second year we went to most of the day Friday. I think we opened up around noon on Friday, and then we went Saturday as well. And then this year we kind of took a step back, and we're Friday and Saturday, but we're Friday from 5. Like VIP opens up at 4:30. So every year we've kind of shifted and done something different. And yeah, you just learn things. And the big difference for this year is, like last year we had VIP activities, like Felissa Rose doing Sleepaway Camp. She did a live commentary during Sleepaway Camp that I heard just turned into a big drinking party, which is exciting.
I can see that with Felissa.
Yeah. And so we had a lot of those activities behind a VIP ticket. And so we just made the decision for this year that all the activities would be either general or VIP. I mean, with VIP and super VIP, you get other perks, but all the activities, whether you're general admission or VIP, you get to do all the activities, which is cool, I think, because we've got a lot of cool stuff for our after hours events, and we just wanted to give everybody a chance to partake in them.
I will say I've been to cons where they keep it to where VIP only has their own events, and then everyone has their own, and it doesn't feel as horror community driven that way, if that makes sense.
No, I mean you are pushing out a certain group, either people that can't afford it, or some of the bigger cons that they sell out of VIP, and you don't get the chance, So I mean, look, I mean, from a convention standpoint, VIP and super VIP and all the levels, they're very important to the show.
Absolutely.
And I mean, for us, I think it's just figuring out, the best way to go forward for us, because we're not trying to be the next Scarefest or Monster Mania or Texas Frightmare or anything, so so that's kind of playing in the waters of everybody. If you want a Friday ticket, you can stay till midnight if you want.
That's awesome.
So why don't you go ahead and tell our viewers who the guests are going to be and what some of the activities that you have lined up.
Oh yeah. So this year I'm really excited. We have some reunions that I'm really stoked about. Again, my buddy Corey come up with the idea of the Scream Queens. That's his that's his legendary that was his number one thing was Michelle Bauer, Brink Stevens, and Linnea Quigley.
Yes.
And so we have a Scream Queen reunion with them. And I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, I never thought I would have that, when I was 15 watching their movies.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a great reunion. We've got a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 50th anniversary reunion.
Yay.
So
the
cool.
original movie, the original 74 movie, we've got John Dugan, Alan Danziger, and William Vale. And very excited to have all three of those gentlemen. John Dugan was actually at the first year, too. He plays Grandpa in Texas Chainsaw. And then Alan and William, they play Kirk and Jerry. I think Alan plays Jerry and William plays Kirk. So really excited about that anniversary. And we're doing a screening of Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Saturday with an intro and a Q&A with those guys.
That's going to be
Awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, that's
If you've
gonna be
never
great.
seen Texas Chainsaw with a group of people, it's a really fun movie because it's weird, right? Like it's
Yeah.
sort of a horror comedy. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that was ever meant to happen, but it's this weird movie where it makes you feel uncomfortable and you laugh even though you're probably not supposed to.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I dig that about it. And so in a crowd, it's great. We have a Thanksgiving reunion. One of the biggest that there's been. We've got 3 of the members. We did have 4 of the cast members, but we had a cancellation a few months ago, which is a bummer. But we have Alex Armbruster, who plays John Carver. So much like Kane Hodder plays Jason, John Carver had a stuntman, and it was Alex. And he'll be doing in-costume photo ops and such. So and we'll also have a Thanksgiving panel on Friday. Also Scuba, Gabriel Davenport from the movie will be there, and this is his first con ever. He's never done one.
Wow.
He's very cool. We have a video of him, and he's very chill, very cool. He'll bring the jacket that he wore and take pictures with people. And then Ty Olson we have. He played Mitch, so he was the guy, the manager of the Right Mart or whatever it was called. So he was the manager, but Ty has done so much more. He was Benny in Supernatural.
Yeah.
He was, if you've seen X-Men 2, he was the guard, the prison guard that Magneto used to escape. And Ty's just been in a ton of stuff. The 100, he was in a few episodes, like 10 episodes of the 100. And so, yeah, the one I bowed out around season 4, but I really loved it.
Yeah.
So with those 3 reunions, we're very excited. But then we've got Brian Bremer from Pumpkinhead, Society, and Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 5. And if you've never met Brian's the sweetest human ever. He's become a good friend of ours, and Brian's great. He's been at all 3 Frankencon. So we've got Honey the Mail Girl, if you are a Joe Bob fan. So she's one of the originals,
Yeah.
We got Ginger Lynn Allen, who is known for, Devil's Rejects, probably a bunch of movies I probably can't talk about, and then she was in The Gifted, which is done by a director here in Knoxville, August Aguilar, from Strange Films, and we're gonna screen that movie. And they're going to do a Q&A and intro at the beginning of that on Saturday. We got Ken Sagos from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 and 4. Also, we have Mick Strawn. He was the special effects guy for Part 4. And we have Nick Benson. And he also did the special effects. So one of the cool things we're going to do with them is we're going to do a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 scene breakdown. And that's something that we kind of do. And I've never really heard of any other con doing it.
No. That's a great idea.
So what it is we'll show the Kincaid death in the junkyard, and all 3 of them will talk about it. Last year we did it with the first 20 minutes of or first 15 minutes of Friday the 13th part 6 with Tom Matthews and CJ Graham.
Oh my
So
gosh.
we showed the first 15 minutes and they talked over it and about it. And the first year we did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with John Dugan, we did the end, basically the last 15 minutes.
Wow.
So the scene breakdowns are something that set us apart from other cons for now. And Sleepaway Camp is such a big movie. We don't have Felissa this year, but we have Frank Saladino. He played Gino, so he's the most famous one with the crop top.
Yep.
If you see the guy with the crop top on the baseball team, that's him.
Yes.
He's a really good. He was also in a movie called The First Turn On, which is a trauma movie from the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of one of those skin flicks, but it's a really funny movie. I just watched it after we booked him because I had never seen it, and it was really good. But he's only done one other convention as of now, and that was in 2009, I think. So if you need that Sleepaway Camp poster signed, we have your opportunity for that.
Nice.
We also have another special effects person, T. Brooklyn Bellissimo. He actually still works on stuff. But he's most famous for he designed the reverse bear trap in Saw. So and he'll have blueprints of the trap and he'll sign them and stuff. So his resume is crazy. Like, I mean, Jason Goes to Hell and Tales from the Crypt. He did 10 episodes of You on Netflix. Yeah, he's just, I mean, he did Suburban Commando, which is a Hulk Hogan movie, and that's a guilty pleasure of mine. So very excited to have like a trio of special effects artists. You know, we like to celebrate all aspects, not just the actors and actresses. You know, we want the directors. And we don't really have a major director like we have in the past, but we do have a writer and producer. Have you heard of the movie Slaughterhouse?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yes.
So
we
fun.
have the writer and producer Bradley Fowler is coming.
How fun!
And and we're gonna screen. That's gonna be our late night Friday night movie. Is Slaughterhouse. So if you haven't seen it, it's a really fun movie.
It is.
And it's not even gross or anything. I mean, it's not even rated R, honestly.
No, it's just fun.
It's just hilarious. I mean, you can see a sloth with a sword. I mean, this is your movie.
And who doesn't want to see that, right?
I mean, I never knew I wanted to until I saw that movie. We've got Tamara Glenn from Halloween 5, I believe, and Terrifier 2. She made a quick cameo in that. We've got the replica of the Dragula from the Munsters. That'll be there to take pictures with. We'll have a Sydney the Scream Jeep. It's an amazing looking Jeep that is wrapped in Scream ghost face stuff. So that'll be sitting out there to take pictures with. And then we've got an up-and-comer special effects artist and content creator. Her name's Kaylee Guerrero, and if that last name sounds familiar, she's the youngest daughter of Eddie Guerrero, so the legendary wrestler. So we're excited to have her, and she will be hosting the costume contest that we have on Saturday. As far as events, I've sprinkled that throughout what I've talked about with the guests, but we've also got a family-friendly and R-rated puppet show, horror-themed, of course. That's something you don't see at every con, you know. So I'm really we had it last year, but we had it so early that a lot of people didn't get to see it. But they were really funny. Their names are Felt Nerdy, right outside. They're in Atlanta, and so they're really funny, and I can't wait for their shows. The R-rated one's Friday night at 8. And the family-friendly one is in the afternoon on Saturday. We've got a Scream Queen panel, you know, a Q&A with Linnea, Michelle, and Brink.
Awesome.
You know, so we do the standard things with that. Mick Strawn just directed a movie called Solitude, and we'll be premiering that on Friday at 5. He'll be doing a little intro to there and talk about that. And then on Friday night, we do the Franken Film Fest. and it's a short film festival, 10 minutes or less. And it's a whole lot of fun. And we put it on Friday night this time at 9 o'clock, so we could give it more of a party atmosphere, because that's what it had become. And some of the movies are just insane. And there's just a lot of references to male genitalia. I don't know why that happened. But it happened. But there's a lot of really funny and good films out there, so you can watch that and then stay for the Slaughterhouse screening. All that's on Friday, and then Saturday we have a lot of stuff, that movie screening with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but then we're closing it out with the Frankencon concert from hell. So we're doing a horror rock concert. John Wayne is Dead will open up for the show, and then we'll have Late Night Zero. They're a horror punk band, and then we'll have Atlanta's drunkest horror rock band out of Atlanta, the Casket Creatures, and it'll be a great show. So, I mean, you could literally stay from 9:30 and 10 o'clock in the morning till midnight and just have stuff to do all day long. Also, Fright Bites is going to be there, and they're a vendor that sells like spooky cookies and stuff. And on Saturday, they're offering a free spooky decorating class, so you can sign up for that for free. It's limited, so on Friday, if you want to do that, you should sign up for it. But that'll be a lot of fun. So, and you know, we are. You know, and you can bring kids. 12 and under are free. Some of the entertainment is, you know, not necessarily recommended if you know, don't want your children watching a lot of male genitalia or blood or whatever. But we try to, you know, emphasize those things before they happen.
Right.
And of course, like the R-rated puppet show, you can come to it, but you know, it's meant to be for an adult crowd. But that's why we're doing the family friendly stuff as well. So yeah, I mean, we've got a pretty stacked lineup. I'm really excited about everything. We've got 2 food trucks that'll be there as well. There's a bar there, cash bar. There's a cash bar in the panel room at night, and there's a cash bar out in the hotel. And what I like about our convention is it's a hotel convention, so a lot of the celebrities are just sitting around in the bar, and you can talk. You know, sometimes some of them will talk to people. Yeah, it's a really cool vibe. So yeah, that's what I like about it.
It sounds excellent.
Yeah, it sounds amazing, and it sounds like it is a lot of work. Can you tell us just a little bit about like what it takes to make all of this like happen?
A lot of money, which is stressful. Because we're, like I said, I mean, right now, as of like a year ago, it's me and Corey are basically the runners of the show now. And you know, it's a lot of stress as far as financially, and then like just booking flights and contacting celebrities and organizing vendors and trying to pick the right vendors for your show, you know, and trying to, you know, doing a layout of the show. Because I think that's something people don't really realize. Like, I take it very serious as far as like, you know, I want people in the right places. You know, I don't want 3 writers next to each other. I don't like artist alleys. You know, I want everybody sort of separate, and you know, just so you're not. Because it feels like a competition. Because I feel like if you have 3 writers in a row, you're probably only going to sell. One person's only going to buy from one of those writers.
Exactly.
It's overwhelming, you know, mentally. But if you see a writer over here, there, you know, you have a better chance, I think.
Absolutely.
And that's with jewelry, but I mean, because we have all sorts of, we have handmade stuff, and we have artists, and we also have 3 or 4 toy vendors this year, which I'm excited about. They'll have the NECA. I'm on good authority that they'll have all the NECA John Carver stuff there. And then we have Tall Man Comics and Toys. They're a Funko shop in Knoxville, one of the largest in the Southeast, and they'll be there. So there's a ton. I mean, it's basically on my brain 24 hours a day. I wake up every night around 3 a.m. and I think about it for like the half hour, and then I try to go to sleep. But yeah, I'm always working on something either, and just doing things like these, promoting it, talking about it, going to stores, trying to leave flyers, there's just a lot. And, we're a very small team of people. Honestly, there's the two of us, and then Corey's wife and sister help out a lot. And then our guy from the first year, he does our MC stuff. So the day of, he's the voice you'll hear over the microphone. He'll host a lot of the events as well.
Very cool.
Okay. So can you tell us how much the ticket prices are?
Yeah, if you buy them, so they change, because if you buy them right now, you'll save money.
Right.
So if you buy them now, hold on, I'm sorry, I don't have these memorized. I gotta get them right. So your Friday ticket right now is $20 plus tax and fees. So I think it comes to like $25 or whatever. And then your Saturday entry ticket is $30 plus taxes and fees. But if you want both days, you can do $40.
Sweet.
So we feel like that's a really comparable price for all the things that you
get.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot. So if you wait till the door, your ticket price for Friday will be $30, your Saturday ticket will be $40, and your combo ticket will be $50. So if you want to save a little bit of cash and help us out, I mean, I don't try to bullcrap anybody, buying the tickets helps us out a lot early. So if you want to do that, you can head on over to frankencon.com, and also we have VIP tickets left. So for $100, you can get early admission into the show both days. You get a half hour early entry. So if you want to, get your VIP or get your autograph stuff taken care of, not wait in line, that's a good way to go. There's a swag bag, and it's going to have stickers and cards and all sorts of stuff. We were putting them together yesterday, so we're loading them up with two exclusive art prints. There's an exclusive enamel pin for this year. You get a sticker from this year, and a custom lanyard and a collectible badge. So our lanyards are really cool. They'll say Frankencon 2000. Oh, well, there's two. One says Frankencon 2004, and the other one says just Frankencon. And then our badges are really cool this year. So if you want a badge, you have to be super VIP or VIP. The general admission stuff. If you buy a combo, you do get a silicone wristband. So that'll be fun.
That's cool.
That's something we've done different this year. So, and we've got t-shirts. Our awesome designer Will does our logos every year, and he just knocks it out of the park. So we'll have those for sale. Those are, if you want your size and you're maybe a bigger size or smaller size where we might have more limited things, you can pre-order your shirt right now and pick it up at the show. Because I know like 4X and 5X. I don't actually know if we have any 5Xs left. I think they've all sold. But you can check out the website. And that's so those are the ticket prices. And like I said, it includes all the panels, your access to the vendors, your access to, purchase an autograph or selfie with the people. We've also got theme photo ops happening, professional photo ops. All those are on Saturday, and those are on the website. But we'll have backdrops of So we're doing one of the coolest things we're doing is Brian Bremer. We're doing a Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 5 photo op where it'll be a Christmas background. Brian will be in a Santa jacket, and he'll have the axe from Silent Night, Deadly Night 1. And then, so there's a lot of cool stuff there. And then we're doing a Sorority Babes and Slime Ball Bowl Rama theme photo op with the Scream Queens. So there'll be a bowling alley background. And actually, I never thought I'd actually purchase real bowling pins, but these are actual bowling pins.
Yes.
That's amazing.
So they'll be scattered about, and you can pick them up and hold them and act like you're gonna hit somebody or something,
Fun.
And then we've got the Thanksgiving and Texas Chainsaw photo ops, and like I said, all the reunion and group photo ops are themed, so it's not just some kind of boring photo op. We try to. Photo ops have not been a great experience the past 2 years, so some people are a little burned by that. But we promise we're using a new person. We're going to be more involved in the happening of them, and we've always taken care of people. We do the right thing if people aren't happy, So
that's awesome.
We try.
That's admirable, because we know some cons that don't.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain situations where we just can't do something, but if we can, we'll try. I mean, we do. I mean, I'll say this: we mostly refunded photo ops last year. We did that a lot because they were not great, but we kind of gave control to somebody else, and it didn't work out. So that's why we're kind of more into it and helping with it, so that we know things run right.
Absolutely. And it's a learning experience for sure.
100%. Every day I learn something.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was wondering, is there anything, I know last year you guys did Bride of Frankencon. Is there any plans to bring that back?
Well, so the original idea was like to do Frankencon, but then you have Bride, it's obviously a play on Frankenstein. So you have Bride of Frankenstein, House of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, all that. So the original idea was to do Frankencon, Bride of Frankencon, and keep going with that. But what we found was that it really. It's a marketing thing. It's a branding thing. People were confused. They were always asking us, "Oh, did you know somebody did Frankencon last year?" And it's like, "Well, yeah, that was us."
Right.
But so it just got a little confusing. And I love it. I love the hookiness of it. I had like 15 names picked out. I mean, this year was going to be Frankencon 3D. Was the name of it.
Love that.
So and just because I thought most, a lot of part 3s in horror movies are 3D, and stuff like that. So that was the gimmick, and we're trying to portray that with the logos. So like this year we have a VHS cover or VHS, and Frankenstein and the Bride are like coming out of it. So, and then next year I have an idea. I mean, I know what it was going to be called, which is ridiculous, and probably would have lost us a lot of, like, people would have been ultra confused. But I love the hokiness of it, and I love being cheesy like that. And I actually think Bride of Frankencon is a better, I love that name. Yeah. And our logo last year was on fire. I mean,
incredible.
Yeah, Will over at Wide Awake Studios. You can follow him on Instagram at Ideas Never Sleep. And he's just an amazing artist, and he prints and screen prints all of our shirts as well. So he's 100% into the designs and the shirts. And I mean, I'll put our shirts up against any convention, honestly. I mean, we focus a lot on our shirts and make sure that they're good quality and the screen printing is good and just everything. They're not like those digital just blobs and stuff. So
Right.
Awesome.
Well, I gotta say, the con sounds phenomenal. And
thanks.
And the prices are spectacular. for everything
Seriously.
that you're saying.
Yeah, sometimes I go back and forth just because that's the age we live in. But I mean, I think they're really good prices, especially if you buy them up front.
Yeah.
And the fact that it goes till midnight, not a lot of shows do that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you spend $40 and on Saturday, if you don't buy your ticket early, you're still going to get a heck of a money value out of that, you know. Also, we have a break room. So, two things before we wrap up or whatever, but I do want to point out that we are a smaller con. So if you like get overwhelmed real easy, it's not as bad for us. You know, we have a large lobby, we have a large hallway, there's a lot of places to sit. We also have a break room where there's like puzzles and other stuff going. Like I put puzzles out there and games and stuff. So if you just want to go in there, there's nothing going on. You can just sit and relax and
I love
kind of
that.
zone out if you need a time away. Because going to a convention, especially if you're spending all day, can be tough.
Totally.
You can also try to reserve a room. Most of our rooms are sold out, I think. But if you call the Hilton, if you want to stay on Saturday, they could probably help you out. And you could enjoy the concert with some adult beverages. So those are important to me. That and that we do have security. We hire 2 local Blount County sheriff officers, and they just hang out, and we just feel like, you know, we want to be safe in this world, and we want everybody to feel safe. So we do have those guys hanging out, and they were really funny last year because it's kind of, I mean, it's a cool gig for them. They just get to sit, you know, watch these weird costumes and people walk by and all these celebrities. So yeah, we try to make it a really good show for everybody.
Sounds like it.
It does. It sounds excellent. And as we wrap up, there's a lot of cons out there. We know that.
Yeah.
Tell everybody why to come to Frankencon. If you could give them one reason.
Well, I mean, I'll say this: like, it kind of got coined after the first year, and they call it the Franken family. And I mean, and it doesn't mean it's a family atmosphere as far as like, you know, there's like a ball pit and kids running around,
right?
But what it means is like you're there. It really does. By the end of the day, you will make a new friend. Like, sort of, we create an atmosphere to where it's just fun, where if you want to come and not make a new friend, you don't have to, but if you want to be around other people and kind of find a community to where you can, you know, just talk to somebody while you're in line about a movie, you know, you can do that. And hang out with them during the concert, watch a funny movie with them with Slaughterhouse. I mean, I think that's the environment, or grab a drink, you know, up at the bar. So it's not like a family friendly environment, but it's just a family type atmosphere. I think that's what coming out of it. If we were to survey people, that's the number one answer: is everybody likes the atmosphere and the vibe of just the entire con. So that's what I think that is where we differ, is where we focus on the activities, and we kind of make everything. I mean, everything is done on purpose. Like, we don't do anything just willy-nilly. So we kind of you know, just construct a con that we want, and that's of cool people and just like-minded folks. And luckily, so far, it's worked.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I will say, a lot of those bigger cons, because it is so much work, it is hard to maintain that atmosphere. So,
well, eventually, if you want to be a big con, you sort of have to give that up. Something has to give, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's fine. Like, I love Scarefest. I love going. I'll go this year.
Yeah.
I mean, last year they had 25,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, they also have like 80 guests and
huge
150, 200 vendors. Yeah, it's crazy. But I love it. And so I mean, I think there's a place for everything, and I
Absolutely.
do think we are more focused on being something a little different than everything else, because a lot of people, have. I mean, I have anxiety, and people have anxieties and stuff, and so that sometimes they'll miss out on a big con because they don't, want to be in that. I mean, if you've gone to some of these cons get crazy. Our con, it's generally, we're hoping to hit about 1,200 people this year over the course of 2 days. So, so that's kind of where you're at. And like I said, if you've never been to the Hilton here in town at the airport, it's amazing. Like the atmosphere, the atmosphere of the hotel itself is amazing. The rooms are really nice. The bar is really cool. It's got a huge hallway, and so you can just like sit on the side of the hallway if you want, and then there's spots in the lobby and such. So there's just I just think we create an environment that we would like to be at.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
love that.
that's great.
And tell everybody when Frankencon is if they want to attend.
Well, it's coming up. As of this recording, it's 12 days away, basically 11. So we're right there. It's May 10th and 11th. You can buy your tickets right now online, frankencontn.com. You can buy all your photo ops. You can pre-order your t-shirt. And even if, so let's say you don't want to necessarily buy your main ticket, those will be available at the door. The photo ops may sell out. So if you only have a limited amount of money right now, you could buy your photo op and then just buy your ticket at the door, because tickets will be available at the door. I mean, they don't sell out. I feel like some cons use the selling out as a scare tactic. I mean, if you're a big con like Scarefest or Frightmare, obviously those sell out. But other ones, I feel like, but we don't do that. They'll be available at the door. I mean, unless 3,000 people show up, then I'd probably have to shut it down at some point. But so you can buy all those right now. You can pre-order your shirt and do all that online. frankencontn.com. There's 3 buttons up there that if you just want to buy stuff, you could just click those links. But if you want to see the guest list, see the activities, it's all on there as well. Also, we have a costume contest. If you want to partake in the costume contest, there's a page on there, and it's got all the rules and stuff. And you can sign up on the Saturday of May 11th. So from Saturday morning from 9:30 till like probably 1 you can register for the costume contest.
Awesome. And we will include all of those links in our description of the video.
So absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, Frankencon TN is basically where you can find us. That's Facebook, Instagram. I think TikTok we might be Frankencon, but I don't know. I don't do TikTok too much. I mean, I watch TikTok, but I can't make a TikTok.
We don't. Okay.
I'd like to, but I mean, I just turned 46, so I figured I'll leave that to the young kids.
I tell them that all the time.
We don't want to do it either, I promise you.
Yeah, my buddy Jeff, he's like 10 years younger than me, and he doesn't do anything either. I'm like, you're the young one out of the two of us. But no, I really appreciate y'all letting me come on and all the kind things you said about the Frankencon. And look, we get a lot of good feedback from the show, and just even people that can't go, they say it sounds really cool. And I mean, hopefully we can just keep doing this and just keep bringing all these people that we've loved watching all these years to the area, because we're not in Knoxville. We're right outside, about 20 minutes. So this is where I've lived for almost 30 years, and I love it. And so I'm just proud to bring it here in town and give us something to do.
Absolutely.
That's
and
awesome.
we would love to have you back just to talk horror sometimes.
Absolutely.
Anytime. I love talking horror, anything really. Everybody makes fun of all my podcasting friends make fun of me because they always want to do list episodes, and I'm always like, I can do a list episode if you need me to.
We won't make you do that. If you would like to support our podcast, we have a Patreon now, so that's very exciting. We will have the link to that in our description as well. Be sure to check that out. Lots of fun perks, including early access to episodes, our Discord channel, and free gifts. We like giving things away, so that's very exciting too. And thank you, everybody, for liking, following, subscribing, sharing. We have been overwhelmed with the support over the past few months. It's incredible. And keep sharing and subscribing. Word of mouth is key.
Absolutely.
And until next time, I'm Nina.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ethan.
And we are Bloody Essentials. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.